name is Benjamin Conley. I am originally from Madisonville, Tennessee, which is a small town in southeast Tennessee. I'm currently a third-year graduate student at ETSU with the Department of Art and Design. I'm a artist, an educator, primarily a painter, but the past few years I've transitioned to some different types of media like sculpture, installation, different types of print. And so the show that I am currently seated within is my thesis show. It's titled In a State of Becoming. It is my MFA, this amalgamation of my MFA research, my thesis research. And so many of these works are a reflection of 3 years of very deep study in different types of media, different types of concepts, and different types of subject matter. And so it's all this, it's all sort of come together in this one singular exhibit. What originally got me started in art was my mom was an art teacher for many years, and so I was always surrounded by it, like making pinch pots at home and throwing them in the oven, the kitchen oven, to fire them, all the way to this massive tackle box of crayons and colored pencils that lived in our laundry room that I would bust into ever so often. So I was always surrounded by it in that way. Another one was I just always drew as a kid in notebooks on homework during class. It was something that I still literally carry on to this day. Even if I'm sitting in an advanced level master's art history course or something, I'm still doodling in the margins, making little stick figures or fighter jets, things just little cartoon things that just kind of occupy my time. And it's I've been working on those from all the way from, first, second grade, probably even earlier. What inspires my current art practice would probably be, in one single word, it would maybe be the outdoors or the natural world. I am a fly fisherman. I enjoy hiking. I grew up in the mountains. I still currently live in the mountains, and that is so just intrinsically tied into my art practice. Different types of outdoor experiences, whether it's with fish or it's with deer or bear or hog, or even if it's just the experience of being in those locations, being in those places, those settings. I'm really drawn to that feeling of the backcountry, being surrounded by trees, surrounded by mountains, and not being able to hear any sort of noise pollution. I don't hear cars, I don't hear people. I'm just completely immersed in this location, this setting where I'm away from everything else. So the way in which my work has transitioned over the course of my MFA experience has been pretty drastic. So in undergrad, I was making large-scale figure paintings that were based on either Greek mythology or biblical narratives. So taking these classical or iconographic figures and rendering them in these elongated or sort of distorted or violent poses. And they would oftentimes be flanked by symbolic animals. Sometimes these animals and these people were in violent situations, sometimes they weren't, but there was always this element of intensity, or there was a visceralness that was within these figure paintings. I then came to graduate school, and I still wanted to make those sort of visceral, intense figure paintings, but I stopped looking at iconographical subject matter, and I started to look at some of the more contemporary, even current subjects that were within my daily experiences, whether I was hiking or fishing or something like that. I was how can I insert the iconographical figure into a creek setting or into an outdoor setting? And so a lot of my early figure painting in graduate school was contemporary people and contemporary animals in the same space, interacting in these sort of mythological manners. Sometimes there was some mythology that was tied into it, or you could see references to 15th to 17th century painting within these works. So there was still that art history element that was present. And then as the animal became more prevalent in my work, you could almost literally see the figure becoming less and less important, and the animal starting to rise up. And then by the time I hit my second year, I had completely abandoned working with the human figure, and it was primarily the animal figure. And so that the visceralness and the intensity was still present, and a lot of the narratives became about regional practices, dam construction, or different types of uranium or plutonium pollution, so like surrounded around Oak Ridge, things like that. So these regional issues that were affecting animals. So you could kind of almost consider it sort of a climate, or like a climate issue or a climate narrative. And then I slowly transitioned away from that visceralness, the violent narratives, and the animal still was present within the work, but it became less about the actual animal itself and more about the location or the setting that the animal was placed in. So the current work that's surrounding me, there's actually very few animal figures, and it's a lot more about the animal domain, the animal setting, and like the animal home in a lot of these works. So the animal figure as like a protagonist is still definitely there, but it isn't immediately evident. It's kind of something you have to chew on or discover for yourself whenever you're checking out some of the recent work in this show. The artists that inspire me are still look at some art historical painters, particularly El Greco would be my sort of the pillar of, or the foundation for a lot of my painting practice even though I'm not working with the mythological or the biblical figure anymore. I think that the way in which he utilizes luminosity, paint, material, line, gesture, all of those are still 100% can be found within my current work, and not even just in painting, but I think those techniques are transferred even into like some of my 3D work and even some of the video installation. So yeah, I would consider him like one of the primary pillars of my practice. But in terms of contemporary folks, I am Dana Schutz is a contemporary painter. When I was doing a lot of the intense, visceral, human animal paintings, she was a painter that I was looking at a lot, especially with how she renders the figure in this abstract yet highly sort of technical fashion. But then in terms of installation and sculpture, probably Andy Goldsworthy. He's a British, a site-specific British sculptor, and a lot of his stuff is really based around natural spaces and actually going into some of these natural locations within the outdoors and constructing art objects from these natural materials, stones, sticks, ice, snow, and then photographing them within the site and then essentially leaving them to the elements. And so I think that some of my work kind of reflects that aspect of actually going into the location and utilizing the location as part of the art practice. Some of the people that have influenced me outside of like contemporary art and art history have been also my mom and my dad in particular. I would just extend that to my entire family. My mom, because of the initial experience with art through her and having access to someone who is a licensed and trained art teacher, but also having those things just present at home. You can do I didn't realize how lucky I was at that time. Like I could pull out almost any type of paint, whether it was acrylic, watercolor, clay, and bust out all sorts of different types of drawing things just within, if I was just bored on a Saturday. than my dad, just because a lot of this work is so tied to the experiences that I had with him, whether it was hiking like deep into the mountains to try to find like secret trout streams, or going hunting with him in for lots of different types of animals, or entering these locations and tracking these animals or trying to find animal sign. I think that a lot of this work is really tied to some of those experiences that I had as a kid. Going out into nature, especially now, like within my older age, has been still really crucial to art making and to this body of work. When I was talking about Andy Goldsworthy and the site as this place, this location where art making can happen within the natural landscape, and so I have to, like going hiking and going fly fishing and things like that. I'm always documenting photographs. If I come across something that's aesthetically interesting, I'll always make sure to take a picture or a video with my phone and have this documentative process of all these visually interesting things that I stumble upon, whether it's animal tracks, animal sign, or some sort of natural phenomenon. And these things will oftentimes find themselves within my work. So if the prints that are behind me currently were all pictures that I or someone close to me took within these natural landscapes, and then I blew them up into these large-scale prints. So oftentimes those photos that I take within those spaces when I'm fly fishing or hiking are then turned into art itself. So some of the new forms of media that I've been working with, other than painting, because I came into the graduate program as primarily a painter. I had done some drawing before, but painting and drawing are oftentimes sort of right next to each other. So sculpture and print, and now currently video, were not materials that I had primarily worked with in the past. So it was a bit of a new challenge, but also leaving painting for a small amount of time and then focusing on new types of media actually opened a lot of new doors and new pathways that I could then bring back to painting, or the painting itself would then influence my sculpture, it would influence my print. So now all of these new types of media started talking to one another, and they all started having this sort of a conversation. So I kind of don't really consider myself a painter much anymore, more so than just probably an artist. But I haven't really made a new painting in some time. A lot of my newer work is more video focused. I like to go out to these locations, these natural locations, these animal spaces that I've been talking about, and take video, and then bring the video back, edit it, and then use it for video installations, or even at times I will take screenshot of a cool moment within one of these edited videos, print out that screenshot, and then go back into it with pastel, charcoal, paint, new types of media. So it almost becomes this cycle of I make videos and I do video installation, but then I can actually bring that back into painting. And so it's once again all these different types of media talking to each other and having this sort of interdisciplinary conversation almost. So kind of what I am thinking for the next step, or looking to the future, would first probably trying to land some type of teaching position, whether it be full-time or part-time, because even though I am an artist, education and instruction is also really personally tied to me, and I enjoy that just as much as making work. So once I feel like that is settled, the type of work that I am still wanting to make within my practice is to continue exploring video installation and traveling into these locations, into these sites, and seeing what type of work I can extract from them. So that could be making these video installations or actually taking art objects within these spaces and photographing them or videoing them. But once again, like actually just traveling into these sites and literally making these sites, these locations, these settings, the art or the part of the art themselves. Once again, my name is Benjamin Conley. I am currently an artist and educator living in Johnson City, Tennessee, and I am sitting in my thesis exhibition in a state of becoming. So thank you for listening to this interview.